Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. Let's get this party started. Today's date, Tuesday, August 19th, 2014. Markets continue to rally higher. NASDAQ successfully closed above 4,500 yesterday for the first time in 13 trading years. And sure enough, we are up again 19 points on the NASDAQ today. The last one to achieve a key milestone is the S&P 500. And again, I've been calling for a move above 2,000. I still think it will get there. Right now, it's trading at 1982. 18 points away, and again, I think it will get above that key level going into next Friday. So not this Friday, but next Friday, you should see it get above 2,000, maybe even a couple days before. But again, that is the key thing to remember, is that into holidays, they like to close the market above key levels. And again, the S&P 500 having a great day, up 10 points today, Dow up 81, and again, NASDAQ up 19 points right now. A couple things to go over. Number one, we are seeing, again, a very slow volume day. Please look at the volume. We only have about 35 minutes remaining in the trading day. We've done 46 million. So maybe we'll do another 10 million on the SPY, putting us at around 56 million for the trading day. That is a super light trading day any way you cut it. We are seeing key stocks begin to push into levels where they should start to see resistance, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out in the coming days, guys, I have to say. So again, if we look at, first of all, the resistance on the spiders here is very obvious. I want to show you this, which is where this is just a short-term resistance area. See this pivot high right here? And then if we go back just a little bit, you can see these little pivot lows. It's actually more visible on the daily spiders chart, so let me flip over to that. If we zoom in here, take a look. So you can see this pivot low here and this pivot high equals the high right now on the SPY. I actually gave this on the free Rant and Rave blog. I hope you guys are following the free blog, because there's tons of trading ideas, day trades, swing trades posted on there every single day, and really some great content there. So make sure you're tuning into the Rant and Rave blog. You can find the Rant and Rave blog, and again, it's free on our website under free market action. The drop down will show you, and you can see a pop down saying Rant and Rave blog. All right, in any case, markets again at a little short-term resistance, but I do think overall the markets will head higher. I talked about this current level as being a possible good day trade, even maybe a one-day swing trade, meaning we could pull back a little bit tomorrow based on the level, but it's not going to be, it's not like we're looking for a huge pullback off of this, maybe 50 cents to a buck max, and then I think you resume your upside movement towards that double top and actually towards the 200 level on the SPY, which again would equate to 2,000 on the S&P 500. All right, a couple other things again that I wanted to mention. Number one, the USO continues to be on the weaker side, down another 40 cents. This is important because we have a major level on a break of 34 down here. So again, this was your first support, and if you look here, you can see you kissed it here and bounced, so that makes sense. Then you came down, pierced it, and held above it. Today you're breaking below. Your next target is going to be right here. There's a key gap fill, key level right in this range, and again, that's a break of 34. So if we get there, I would say early next week, I will absolutely be pulling the trigger on a long USO trade, on a long oil trade. That's going to be the spot. Couple other things to look at. Hewlett-Packard is trading up a little bit today, but there's a bearish daily pattern. I posted about this on the Rant and Rave blog today, and the reason why I did is because they're reporting earnings after the close tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to be a buyer going into earnings on purpose here. It's not something I like to do, is buy something ahead of earnings, but I will say this, is that this bearish pattern with earnings tomorrow afternoon, with the stock trading at the highs, or essentially at the 52-week multi-year highs, it does make me think it could sell off on earnings. So for me, that's the direction I'll be looking, even though I'm not going to put my hard-earned money at risk on this going into this specifically. Now, I have a little bit on the Hewlett-Packard front from a while back, which I'm going to continue to hold, but ultimately, I already had puts on this, which we took about, I think it was about 16% gain on the latest fall right here. And then I just moved out going into earnings on those options. So, again, just something to be aware of is that I do anticipate us seeing a drop on earnings, even though it's not a high enough percentage for me to put my hard-earned money at work. Okay, other stocks in motion here. Let me just scan through. Chevron's up $1.32. That stock has been weak because of oil, but again, having a good bounce today. And you can see really a tremendous fall. Notice the support line right here. And notice how it's kind of chopping along there, starting to bounce back up. When oil gets a bounce, these will bounce again. So be prepared for that. Be expectant of that as well. Corn, interesting on corn, guys. So I've been talking to you guys a lot about corn in this video, and interesting today, basically a flat day on the CORN. Notice how it's going to close right on the 20 moving average, so that's good. You wanted to see a flat day. You didn't want to see follow through on the drop from yesterday, because what this tells us is this probably yesterday's movement was just a short-term profit taking off of this resistance. So see this resistance right here? You came right into it, and then it got pounded down as sellers said, hey, listen, this has bounced a big amount in the short term from this low all the way to this high. Let's take profit. Now, what you want to see is over the next few days it start to creep up and eventually take out that high, and then it goes right to that 50 MA. And I do believe that that will happen, by the way. You'll see a little choppiness over the next few days, but ultimately, if you look at the spot corn price today, we were actually up about $2 on that, which is about a 0.5%, a little over 0.5%. The ETF corn did not participate. It was just basically flat today. But the one thing you have to remember is the ETF is not based off of the current contract on corn. It's based off of the next 3 contracts. So it takes into account how corn is moving on future contracts as well, which can skew it a little bit. This way, sometimes it's either leading the actual price on corn or sometimes lagging, and today we're seeing it lag just a little bit because of those future commodity prices of corn not having as big of a bounce today as the spot on the current contract did. So just a little thing you got to understand about the ETF and how it trades. It's kind of like the VXX. If you look at the VXX here, VXX really just barely down today, which is actually a good showing considering. But the VXX doesn't track the VIX. A lot of amateurs out there think that that's the volatility index. No, it's not. What it is it's future contracts of the VIX going out multiple months. And in the short term, when you have a little volatility in the market, those future contracts don't gyrate as much. So oftentimes it will lag. All right, but ultimately down the line, if you have a lot of fear in the market, then that future contract will go nuts. It'll just go and start taking off, and you'll see actually a bigger move on the VXX. But again, it's not the current contract, which is why people say, oh, well, the VIX is up this much. Why isn't the VXX, or why is the VXX up more? And the answer is simple. It's because it trades off of future contracts. So little things like that definitely are important to recognize as swing traders, especially if you're trading these entities. Intel's flat to negative today, a little bit of weakness there. I do think Intel is actually, let me just look at Intel, because I think it's actually, it still has a potentially a little bit more upside, maybe to double top. But I actually think once you get above double top here on a Pierce, you might have an opportunity for a short. If we look at Apple, guys, look at this. Apple through the 100 even number. You guys know I've talked about this as being a as a key level that the stock was going to get to. I'm not looking to short just yet, but I would say that probably will be looking to short in the not too distant future. One thing to note here, look at this, guys. You're actually at your exact double top. So I expect Apple to kind of flutter around here, go a little bit higher ultimately to about 101 to 103, and at that point I think that's going to be an interesting level. And of course I'll give out the trade alert timestamps via the Research Center. If you're a Research Center member, you're going to get that trade, and it's going to be a beauty. All right. JP Morgan today up 40 cents, so again a nice move on JPM. Goldman is actually weaker on the day, but Goldman's actually had a nice rally here. But again, financial showing a little weakness. TBT, which tells us about what rates are doing on the 10-year and so forth. You can see rates opened lower today and then have clumped back and gone green. I actually think, and I wrote about this on the Rand Rave blog again, is that you might have had a bottom here. This could be capitulation volume, which could put in a longer-term bottom on the TBT or on rates. So again, I think we saw rates on Friday get as low as 2.3 or maybe even pierce 2.3, and I do think it's possible that could be a multi-month, maybe even multi-year low. I don't know for sure yet. I'm watching for the conclusive confirmation signals, but it is looking very plausible at this point in time. Okay, so that's what we have going on with the TBT. What else do we have here? Amazon today continues to have a small uptick, not very much. That stock is getting short-term extended from the bad news that it had. Baidu today, look at this, guys. Baidu came down. It's weaker today. It hit the 20 MA and bounced off of it on the daily chart. Ultimately, I think when the market does finally start to sell, this is going to be one of the leaders to the downside based on the chart pattern. All right, it's had such a big run. This is more of a bearish pattern. You can see the weakness today. I don't think now is the time to jump in because I think the market still has a little bit more upside. But I do think as soon as you start to get some weakness in this market, this is going to come down very, very quickly. All right. What else do we want to look at here? U.S. Steel. Take a look at this, guys. U.S. Steel, early upside, made a new high and then reversed is negative. This could be a short-term top on U.S. Steel, so heads up on that. I am not short this yet, but I will, again, if I decide to take the trade, I will post it to Research Center members via the hot charts and alerts. And if you're not a member here, guys, you got to sign up. I mean, take the 7-day free trial. It's free, right? what kind of crazies don't take the free trial. But ultimately, our members make so much money basically in a month, they usually pay for years of the service in just 1 month alone. So that's the beauty of what we do here. And again, you could feel free to go look at our track record. Track record showing about 380% profit this year alone. As I said in yesterday's video, even if you only put 10% of your account in each trade, you're still up about 38% for the year. Think about that. Markets are essentially flat to higher on the year, maybe up 3, 4, 5% on the year, 38%. And we've been going long and short this year and making money both sides. Just think about when the volatility actually really does increase substantially, how awesome that's going to be. Okay? Gold today, let's take a look at gold briefly here, and gold basically down slightly. I don't see anything there. Let's take a look at Chevron. We talked about Chevron getting a small bounce. There's nothing on Chevron. WIN is an interesting chart, forming a nice bearish pattern here from this drop. It has all three moving averages above current price. You can see it was up to the 20 in reverse, so that's actually a sign of weakness. That stock could come down as well. All right, I think that's all for today, guys. Have a great afternoon. Come join us at InTheMoneyStocks.com. Take the 7-day free trial, profit for life. This is what we do. This is how we build wealth for our members. And again, come join us here at InTheMoneyStocks.com.